Welcome to another blogging video. This video is all about the goals and like different tasks that I would do the first month of blogging. So really it's like my first month of blogging tips. But I think this will be really helpful, and even if you're not at that, if you're past that first month of blogging, I think it's really helpful for for the first year. And I have individual tips that will just help you grow your blog a lot faster and be a lot more confident and know what's worth it to spend time on versus what's not worth it to spend time on. First tip is to set a schedule and stick with it to the absolute best of your abilities. I've found from knowing people in the industry and then also just like watching other people, it is so easy to have in your mind to start a blog, and then you realize how much work is involved with it. And something that you have to be is super consistent. Like, you have to be a consistent person to have a blog, especially because it's fully on you to do it. You know, like, you're not gonna have someone watching you being like, you need to post today, you need to post tomorrow. It's just, that's not how it is. So you have to be super disciplined. For me personally, I made a schedule for myself that I would post a blog post twice a week. And I was easy on myself on the fact that I wasn't like, okay, every Wednesday, Thursday I had to post a blog post. I was like, all I need to do is post 2 blog posts a week. It doesn't matter what days I post them at, it doesn't matter what time. In the grand scheme of things, it literally does not matter. So don't be like super intense about that. But for me, from that Sunday to Saturday, I was like, in between that time, I have to have 2 blog posts published. And that really, I have to have the blog post published and I have to have like the Pinterest done for it. And that really helped me stay on track. Wait, follow up to that. If you be realistic with your time, if you can't do 2 blog posts a week, then be consistent with 1 blog post a week. If you have a lot more time, you can do 3 blog posts a week, then do 3 blog posts a week. But what I would not recommend doing is doing like 1 blog post this week, 5 blog posts the next week, none the week after. Like, try to be as consistent as possible with like 2. This is a big one that I harp on so much in my videos. Spend the least amount of money possible, because it is such a small percentage of people that actually stick with blogging. And so I always am like, you know, like, get the cheapest hosting. Do not invest in a $300 theme. Don't spend $1,000 on the course. Buy the course that's $100. You know, like, be super realistic with your money. And then, even if you have money, I would say be realistic with it, because then once you start doing it more and more and you're like, okay, like I'm consistent with it, like I'm actually gonna do this, then that's when you could spend the big bucks. But the things that I would recommend spending money on is hosting. So you want a self-hosted WordPress website. So to do that, you need to get hosting. I highly recommend, and what I used when I first started out is Bluehost. I'll have the link for them down below. I'll have like on my website, I have like blogging, which basically like goes over exactly how I started my blog, all the different websites that I use. But the reason that I like Bluehost specifically, also do your research. There's like so many out there. I just personally use Bluehost, is because it's like the Walmart version of hosting. So I'm always like, there's Walmart version, and then you have the Target version, then you have like the Nordstrom version. So now, because my website is so successful and we're getting so many viewers on it every single day, now we're at the Nordstrom level. But in the beginning, I didn't have money. I was a college student that was paying for college on my own. Like, I was broke, so I had to be really strategic. And Bluehost allowed me to get what I needed to get done. I switched over then to Big Scouts. Big Scouts, I don't really know what it is, which one it is, when I was about at 200,000 readers per month. But from the $0 to $200,000 or 200,000 reader mark, I was just using Bluehost, and it was really great. So that's the cheapest one. As far as WordPress theme, so like the design of your website, I would recommend going to Etsy. Etsy has so many different ones at all different prices. I mean, they literally have like ones from $5 all the way up to $100. I personally spent, I think it was like $65, and I'll put the exact theme that I used too. I got it from like I had a great experience with it, but there's so many on there on Etsy depending on like what you're looking for. And then I would invest in a course. There's 1,000,005 courses out there. I would get one that is focused on SEO, or like, yeah, I would get one that's focused on SEO. So a little plug, We have a course, Perfecting Blogging, which is basically my dream course when I started my website on like what I wish I would have known. But like I said, there's a million different courses out there, so do your research, read the reviews, and see which one is best for what you need. But I like basically, so Perfecting Blogging goes over and this is like what I would recommend for you to get first, whether it's my course or another course. But so like what you need to have on your main page, how you need to write your titles, how you need to lay out your posts, the different like SEO techniques that I use, that bloggers use to be successful. It's very strategic. Like blogging is not something that you just go pick, oh, today I'm gonna write about blah, blah, blah because I love blah, blah, blah. Like, no, like every single blog post is super strategic and there's a lot of research behind it. So you need to know how to do that research, what to be writing about, because the faster you can figure that out, the faster you'll get views, the faster you can get ads on your website, and the faster you'll be making money. Next tip is to find a niche that you actually like. You are gonna get so burned out if you start a blog on something that you think you just started because you think you're gonna make money from it. You have to be super knowledgeable about what you are talking about, and you have to enjoy talking about it because you will be writing so many different things on it. Your brain is going to be constantly thinking about it. So you want to make sure that it is something that you enjoy thinking about 24/7, because you will be thinking about it 24/7. And also think about like the future of it. If you want to start a mom blog on toddlers, okay, that's like great, and there's such a market for that. But are you gonna be wanting to write about toddlers for the next 15, 20 years? And if you don't, then you can have like kind of a path. Like for me, I knew that I wanted to have a design blog. So I started it talking about college dorm room decor, but I was like, I'm not gonna wanna write about college dorm room decor forever. So then I was like, okay, then I'll write about apartment decor, and then I'll write about home decor. And so it was like that natural path. So for the toddler example, you could start with babies and then go to toddlers, and then so it's like a parenting blog that goes through it, but you wanna choose something that you care about. Next tip, treat it like your full-time job from the very, very beginning. When I started my website, I was so gung-ho about it. Like my friends, I was a college student, I was a sophomore, so my friends would be like, we're going out, and I'd be like, sorry, gotta work. And they'd be like, what are you working on? And then I'd have to be like, my blog, and they'd like roll their eyes. They're not rolling their eyes anymore, but like in the beginning they were, because they were like, what? Like, why are you, And so you have to be you have to be so disciplined and treat it like your job, like it is work. So whenever I would be working on my website, I would be like, oh, I'm working. Like, sorry, I can't do this, I'm working. Because if you start using that like mentality, when you take it a lot more seriously, and so will like the people around you start taking it more seriously eventually, instead of just being like, oh yeah, I'm doing my blog. No, it's like, no, you're not. Well, you are, but like you're working. And so that's one of my top advices is like treat it like a full-time job from the very beginning. Take it really seriously, because if you do, then you can make it your full-time job. ROI. Okay, ROI is something that I still think about every single day. And so ROI is return on investment. This is another thing that I talk about all the time in my videos because it is so important, but it's especially important those first years. So like the first month, get it into your head. You are only going to want to do things in that first month, the first year, that will make money for you in the future. At least that's how I looked at it. And that made me like really help on what was important to do and what was not important to do. So I was like a broke college student, like I said. And so I was a college student, so I was so busy. And so I had to be really strategic with what I was spending time on, and I only wanted to spend time on things that would actually pay off in the future. So for me, the absolute most important thing was to write blog posts and to get them on Pinterest, because if I could get them on Pinterest, then I could get people reading the blog, and I needed views, because then when you get a certain amount of views, you can then apply to an ad network and you can start making money. So that was like my ROI, where like spending 3 days on your about page is not a good use of ROI, because one, you're gonna make no income from that, and two, no one really cares about you. Like this is a separate thing that I should have added into my list here to say. Get into your head, no one cares about you, they only care about themselves. No one really cares about your about page. Like, let's be real, they don't. But they do care about what's in it for them. And so these blog posts, you should be like thinking about every single time you're writing it. Every single time we do anything at BSL, we always think, are we being the most helpful as possible to our reader, to our customers, and to our clients? And if you can be like, I will be the most helpful website out there for dorm room decor. That's what I always think about. Or how can I be the most helpful website out there for dorm room decor? How can I make this blog post the most absolutely helpful thing out there that will really help you? It'll give you like a leg up, and also like that's what the readers care about. So you'll be having more and more readers. You will not see momentum on your blog for months, and this is so hard. I think that a lot of people go into blogging thinking that it's a fast game and that you are going to see results really quickly. You will not. You absolutely will not. Usually it takes like an entire year to see results. And when you say a year out loud, it's not that long. But when you're actually grinding it out and spending so much time and treating it like your full-time job, a year is a really, really long time to not see results. So get it into your head that it's probably going to take that long to see them. And that this initial legwork, when you're again like grinding it out hardcore, is the most important part, and you will see results later on. I feel like I keep trying to give examples from like my experience. Like the work that I put in that first year is still earning me income and still earning the business income today. Blogging is great because it's such passive income that it lasts for a really long time, but there's so much initial work that's involved in it. So yeah, I think you just need to be realistic. Like, it drives me crazy. I don't know why I let this drive me crazy so much, but when like people will comment or whatever, or I see something where it's like, I've been blogging for 2 months and I've seen nothing, like, what am I doing wrong? It's like, no, like it's gonna take you a lot longer than that to get started, because Google has to scan you and make sure they trust you. Pinterest has to make sure they trust you. So it's a process. Do not do too much at once. Like this is why ROI is so important, because it can be super overwhelming, and so many people will be telling you, focus on this, focus on that, focus on this. You're gonna figure it out pretty fast what to focus on, but definitely don't do too much where you get so overwhelmed that then you wanna quit. For photos, you have to get permission unless you take the photo. Every single thing that you use on your website that's not yours, you need written permission from, because you can get in trouble for copyright. So even if you take a picture from Instagram and then credit the person on the bottom, that is not enough. You need to have written permission of them telling you that you can use that photo. And lastly, set specific goals. I'm a huge goal person, and they really help me stay motivated and also like know what I'm working towards. So I highly recommend you setting those short-term goals and then also the long-term goals. For me, my goal in the beginning was to get into an ad agency within the first year. So that was kind of like my more short, well, I mean, there's like, that's like I say that's a medium length goal. Like my short-term goal was to get 2 blog posts posted a week. More medium goal was to get into an ad agency that first year. And then my long-term goal back then when I was a college student was to make it my full-time job after I graduated. And so those goals really gave me something to work with, and I think goals are just a great motivator, so I would highly recommend that. That wraps up this video on my first month's blogging tips. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it was helpful. I have so many videos. We do a video every single week on my top blogging tips, blogging hacks, different programs that I'm using, how I do stuff, etc. So I highly recommend checking those out. Check out the courses. We have Perfecting Blogging, which I talked about, Perfecting Pinterest, which is my exact Pinterest strategy. Pinterest can be a bitch. And so I really go over exactly how we get like over like 400,000 page views a month from Pinterest, and we have a very specific system. So I highly recommend checking out that course. And then we also have our Perfecting Email course, which goes over our email strategy. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you at next week's blogging video.